welcome you with some music. Our listeners and viewers right at Africa RadioTv present Talk Spirit.
Come closer to your mic, please. You've just fainted a bit.
Hello, can you hear me?
Much better.
All right, okay. Listeners, if you can hear me, with coming online now. One South African doctor based in Johannesburg, right at Africa RadioTv.
I call on my own spirits. I call on the spirit of the serpent, animal of the south, to show us that we can shed our stories like a snake can shed its skin. We are not our stories, that it can show us how we walk in beauty on Pachamama. I call on the Otorongo, animal of the west, the black jaguar, to come to cross the rainbow bridge and to be present in this holy, sacred space. To show us what it is to live without fear, to walk in courage and to be king of your domain. I call on the hummingbird, little beautiful animal of the north, to show us the lessons from our ancestors, those that we can shed and those that we can pass to those that come after us. I call on the condor and the eagle to take us on their wings, to take us to the place of spirit, of pure love. I thank Pachamama for allowing us to walk on her belly. I thank her for feeding us, clothing us, housing us. I thank the stone people and the plant people, the fin, the furred and the feathered, the multi-legged, the four-legged, the two-legged. We are all one. I call on Pachacuti, Father Sun and Grandmother Moon. I call on my star brothers, my star sisters, my whole star family. You who have 1,000 words and you who cannot even be named. Thank you for allowing us to walk on this earth one more day to serve our purpose. The ceremony is open.
All right, to our listeners and viewers, today we have one of our sisters at Africa RadioTv present Talk Spirit. Yes, sister, welcome to our show today. Please, to our listeners and viewers, I would like you to introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners.
Tamagweni, greetings. Tamagweni, greetings to everyone wherever they are, in all the prospects of the earth globally. And I also like to greet the ancestors, my ancestors, and the spiritual beings that are with me. And I greet also your ancestors that are with you. The person that's with you right now is Dr. Mvoko, Gogo Majola. I'm Dr. Mvoko by the virtue of being an indigenous healer, and I have been for the past 10 years. I am a spiritualist, and I am also one person who believes in teaching and also educating our indigenous people and our African people to ensure that we bring back our culture to this originality and we retain it. I am one person that has been multi-gifted in different ways. I am also what they refer to as a psychic and a medium. And I also do bone and card readings. And I also do reiki and crystal healing. And one of the key things that has been imparted on me and mandated to me is to teach and educate our Africans and all generations to come. I'm happy to be here, and thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot, Dr. Mvoko. Doctor, how do you become a traditional healer in South Africa and the world who knows you? And I can see you have done a lot of projects. I wanted to let our listeners and viewers know where you're coming from and actually how do you start this journey?
I have known my gift from the age of, as a teenager, around about 15 to 16 years. But because of the religious belief and restrictions, I never really got to even embark on the journey. I've never been managed to even do anything concerning the journey because I grew up, the environment where I grew up with my parents was that I was a Jehovah's Witnesses. And that took me for the better half of my years up until such time in 2013. That's when things control, because by that time when I was then now being led, or whereby I was now sick in the sense that I couldn't be able to even do anything concerning my life being. I was then by that time from Jehovah's Witnesses, I was now a what to call they call them born again Christians. And but still being a born again Christians didn't really take me far, because I was getting sick every year. I would be sleeping in hospital. And by the time I was now taken or led to be in this hut, where the room whereby all started, I was almost half, I would say half paralyzed. Some of my my knee, from my knee down, I couldn't be able to walk. And then I was taken there, and when they started the drums and they beat the drums, to my surprise, I came back from the subconscious mind. I was dancing and with the drums and jumping all over, and that's how my journey started, and I didn't look back since then.
All right. So from there, you have to go to some rituals, and as well, they have to like get you involved in certain things in spiritual way before you become a sangoma, right? Will you like to explain the
Yes.
process?
So from the time when after they beat the drums for me, and my spirits, the one that's leading me and guiding me,
Yeah.
then came out and they spoke and they gave instructions how they want
Yes.
things to be done. That's when now after that I had to follow the process of the place where my teacher as house was, where as to how do we train and how do they train us.
Mm.
Then the processes that were key for me is that I had to also report at home. I had to also go back home to my village and report and seek I would say seek permission from the main house and the other houses, my parents' home. Then from there, seek permission that I am now going to start this journey. Then after that, when I had to come back now to be at my teacher's house, that's when also we have to do rituals of being welcomed to the home. And after you do those rituals of being welcomed, another other rituals that are key is that you have to be cleansed. The cleansing of the cleansing process entails that you have to first acknowledge that you are now entering a new route. You are now going to be a new person. When I have to link that quickly with why the Christians have twisted the word born again, because when you are there, when you're starting this journey, you are being born to be born again, in a sense of now you're taking a new life. You're allowing and submitting to this new life that you're going to take and be a new person. So the rituals after that that are key is this cleansing that I've spoken about, the cleansing of the past issues, cleansing of any blockages that you might have had before you enter into the sacred space of being in the initiation school. And then after that, when those cleansing have been done, you are now being given rules and regulations as to how do you behave and what food not to eat and how what not to do.
Mm.
The other important thing is that you get to stay there in that home, and that in your master's house or your teacher's house for a certain period that will be instructed by your ancestors.
All right.
So I then stayed there for that time and going through the teachings, from teachings of herb, also connecting. What was key is that we had to know how to connect with the guides, with our ancestors, with the ones that really wanted me to take this journey.
All right.
And those processes, they have their own rituals that are sacred, and also that also differ from one person to the other, depending on the demands of that person's ancestors. So that took me from a time of 3 to 4 months, 6 months maximum, whereby I was under that process with my teacher and or my gobela, so to speak. Whereby after that, then it had to come to a completion to say now my guide or my ancestor was now ready to go out there and start doing the work that he wanted to do. The reason I say he, because I got to know that I am a female in my physical body, but my spirit is a male person.
All right. Okay. So tell us more with your profession in engineering for 17 years. You have been there and you've decided, or is it a call that you just come out from it, and all this drumming stuff that you were saying when they are doing something, and you realize that you have to be a sangoma. So within that 17 years, don't you think that is a lot of year to just divert to be a sangoma?
Okay. I have to bring it clear out that
all right.
I have to bring this clear that what transpired is that within my working career, I was still working at the time when in 2013, I was still full in the industry and concentrating in the industry in 2013. I was working when this happened, when the calling caught me, when I got sick and all that happened to me. And when I went for the initiation, I was still at work, working. And after I've completed, I was still continuing working as an engineer. So I would go to work in the morning, and after work, then I'll do my ancestral work. So even also on weekends, I'll do the same. Now, what I want to bring out is that I did not just choose or decide that now I want to be out of the corporate world or out of the construction or engineering world. It happened that I was then notified by the spirits that it's now time. They need me to be out of the career space, but I did not plan it. How it happened, it just happened that at that time, things just didn't work out at my working place. I was then given and I would say like a retrenchment kind of an option that I need to be out of the corporate. Okay. And that was 2018 to be exact. That's when then I then accepted that now I need to sit down and then concentrate on my calling and my ancestors. So it's not just a decision that you decide to make. It's a decision that is made for you and by the ancestors that are with you. Okay. So to say to that, yes, 17 years it's a long time for me to have decided that I want to give it up, but I did not choose to do that. Okay. They chose for me. And also to keep in mind that, and to make it known that when they want me back to be back in the industry, they will then decide when and where and how should I be back.
All right. My sister, you are SABC University of African Medicine in 2020, right? And you were graduate on that particular year, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, of African medicine.
Yes. What I can put out loud that based on the fact that we as Africans and within our indigenous root as Sangomas,
Yes.
mostly specifically in South Africa, we didn't have much of a platform or a place whereby we can all gather properly and get to be recognized as indigenous doctors. So what has happened is that the SADC University of African Medicine is the first of its kind that has been established to bring and to give the platform for our indigenous healers like us Sangomas to be able to be recognized as doctors. Hence, I am now a Dr. Mvoko. So at that point, and when in 2020, I then went and graduated and got my doctorate. And for me to have even received a doctorate, it had to also be verified that do I really deserve to have this doctorate based on the experience and the exposure that I have been. Then I was given the doctoratehood that I can now be a doctor. So SADC University now, they have also just embraced me to be the spokesperson, whereby I have to then ensure that the SADC University is known globally, not just only in the African continent. It is a very good platform that I would suggest and even promote that as us as indigenous healers, we can be a part of the university, because it's not only about getting the doctorate recognition, it's also about being able to learn more on the indigenous healing and African medicine. The school is based in Limpopo, or the university is in Limpopo, South Africa, whereby the site is there, the office is there, but it's still on the growth stage. We're still building it, but the plans around it is that it will have a laboratory where we can test our own medicine the way, the African way. And it's also going to be a place whereby even if when we want to learn about midwives and we have to learn about initiation, that place will also provide that. It's a university that is meant to bring dignity and to retain dignity for our Sangomas and our indigenous healers in all different aspects. And it will welcome anybody, even herbalists are also part of the university, because we understand that we need to have our own university where we can learn our own culture and tradition.
Wow. So can I ask you something? Because when this medicinal plant is getting into the university, for the past years, the Westerns are fighting against this medicinal plant from Africa. And today, we don't even have a grandpa that is a medicine that is from Africa in a pharmaceutical, whatever that we are calling it. Do you have something to say shortly about it? That so that we can continue our conversation. Just short one, yeah? Because that bothers me at all.
Yes, what I can say is that with the small organizations that we have been working with around South Africa specifically, we are working on those, I would say, Western and Western versus African medicines initiatives, whereby we are then now looking at the not just alternatives, but we are then now putting out there that this medicine, it can be used for headache. You can sniff this medicine, or you can lick this type of medicine that you can use if you've got a headache issue or a stomach issue that you have as a person. Then it gets healed instead of you going to the doctor. Another thing that we're also educating people about is that eating the correct food or the correct diet. And again, to be able to understand that even if you can eat the correct food, but if your spirit is not balanced, if your health and your spiritual spiritual being, spiritual health is not in order, you may find yourself to be having issues of headaches and
Wow.
blood pressure and diabetes and so forth. So we are teaching people, and in a broader picture, to be able to understand that it's not only just the powder or the root or that we've made for you. It's not only just the leaves that we can give you, but it's bigger than that. It's broader in that aspect. So spirituality, health is very critical also.
All right, so let me ask you another question. I can see you have done a lot of workshop in South Africa, which is going well.
Yes.
And then I can see Dr. Maponga from Zimbabwe, a very well-known
Yes.
man to Africanism. Look, through your workshop, what do you always tell the people, or what is your workshop is all about? And I want our listeners and viewers to hear about your workshop. Are you doing engineering there, or spiritual work, or medicine? So let us.
Oh my goodness, my brother. Okay, my workshops they're called African spirituality workshops.
Wow.
Because they're based on teaching about African spirituality.
Listen.
So far, when I started the workshops in 2018, the workshops were focused on teachings. Specifically, I'll mention a few topics that I can remember, where to talk about the difference or the relationship between Christianity and African spirituality.
Wow.
And other topics that we spoke about were about polygamy, and as in African context, where they're still relevant in nowadays. Another things that we spoke about in the workshop were about understanding whether am I being called, or am I calling myself to be a Sangoma? What is a calling, and understanding the aspects around it. So what happens is that when I'm having these workshops, I will then be able to invite certain speakers and certain people that were experts in those fields. And again, with Dr. Maponga being the one that would be also being like one of the key hosts. He will then, as you will know, that he's a world icon who understands the Christianity side and also the African ways and behaviors. So it then gave me the better opportunity to be able to have people that can teach us further on another angle on those workshops. So the other upcoming workshop that one is looking into is the men's conference, or the men's retreat that I would like us to look into as part of empowering our men for the future generation.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about men's empowerment, as you are saying, because in the beginning of our interview, you said with you as a Sangoma, you are not a woman, but you are a man. So is it that true that you are coming up with all this men's empowerment as well?
Yes, it was then it came to my spirit, then mandated to me in a way that I have to address issues that are relating to men. Men, whereby that now we have a high rate of men who are committing suicide.
Wow.
We have a high rate of men who are under depression, and also to outline what are men's rights, and also being able to understand how best we can help men to be able to talk. Because as you know, that as African men, we are being told that we are not supposed to speak out. A man must bite the bullet. And to address such issues, that is it still relevant for us to do that? And again, to talk around men who end up abusing their women, what is the root cause? And men that are being abused by their women, how do they handle that? Talking of men's rights, do men have rights in any aspect when these things happen to them? Can men go out and speak speak out there and say, I'm being abused by my woman on certain issues. And abuse can come in different forms. It can be financial abuse, it can be physical abuse, it can be emotional abuse. And men do go through these things. So this workshop, or say it's a men's retreat that will be coming up in the next month or two, it's aimed to address such issues concerning men. And again, most importantly, not just men only. We're looking at the boys. What are the young boys being nurtured to be as for the future, to be future men? Who are their role models? And again, also to look into the aspect to say, now there's a lot of this women empowerment, this and that. What about men empowerment? Are these men empowered enough to be able to handle these empowered women? So to also look into those aspects, because looking at the way the rate of gender-based violence, it can be due to these common causes that I've just mentioned, because now a woman is earning more than a man, but a man must still provide, and it might also work on the ego of the man, might also work on their, and they end up being inferior and feeling less important. And again, there's another one aspect that I'm also looking into as part of this initiative, to talk around the boy child. We must groom the boy child. We must adopt the boy child and groom him to be a man that we want to see as an African man who understand the roots and also to understand where they stand. And lastly, another one is the circumcision. Is it still relevant for us as men of our today, for the future generation? And if so, what are the ways that have been done for it, and what has been taught there in the mountain that makes our young boys to come back to be different? Because they either come back as good people, or they come back to be the worst that you can ever imagine. So this men's conference or men's workshop, I'm hoping that it will be able to address those issues and allow men to come out and be able to talk and have a platform where they can voice their own issues and also be empowered within that. And I want to bring it out that is only strictly for men. And well, unfortunately, I might be the only woman available there, but you'll have to accept me.
Exactly. So, okay, let me ask you one more question. Then I think we'll get to our end with our program. You are into Reiki, right?
Reiki, yes, healing of hands.
Yes, healing of hands. How do you combine Reiki with traditional healing?
I combine it very easily, because sometimes I do when I do the consultation, I would find that I have to, when I touch a person or I Reiki them, I'm able to pick up issues that are hidden. Specifically, I would mention that I will be able to pick up the history of that person's, maybe they've got a certain sickness. I'm then able to pick it up, that where does it come from? Maybe it's in the family, it's hereditary, or something that they're able to, that they got from someone. And when I'm doing the Reiki, I'm able to cleanse the energies that I have blocked, or that blocking the person. By the time I give the person herbs to go and cleanse their auras, and just now to create the balance of their chakras, because I also use stones. I do reflexology. I use the stones to ensure that the chakras of the person are balanced. So with the combination of the Reiki and the crystal healing, I make sure that the person is aligned with themselves and also with their ancestors. So when that is done with the Reikis, it's just more also on the physical and the spiritual. Then when I now do my herbs and also burning of Mvoko, and also taking them to certain aspects, to certain rituals, that's now bringing up like a holistic healing for that person.
All right, Dr. Mvoko, thanks for joining us at Africa RadioTv present Talk Spirit. Doctor, you are called Gogo, right? You are called Gogo.
Yes.
And some of the Southern Africa say Gogo is an old lady who cannot
Yes.
even walk or something that is an ageable woman. You are not ageable woman. You are not a person that cannot walk. You are not a Gogo that we can say this is Gogo. So can you
Yes.
explain the word Gogo in spirituality so that our listeners and viewers can understand what is Gogo, especially here in South Africa, Southern Africa?
What has happened? Thank you. There's Obogogo, there's Abomkulu. Okay. My correct name is supposed to be Mkulu Majola because it's a male spirit that has embattled me. So you get to be called by the gender of the spirit that has taken over, or that is the one that is leading you within the spiritual work. That is what happens within us, specifically in South Africa. We are being called according to that. And in other cultures, they will just be called by the name of that person.
Okay. All right, Gogo. So we understand your explanation, and thanks a lot for joining us at Africa RadioTv. Talk Spirit. Gogo, if people have to get a hold of you in the terms of like healing, because I know from here, people are going to disturb you a lot. And
oh, my word.
and you just have to be ready with that. Do you have any social media handles and contact that you can share with people if maybe they need help from you?
Okay. I do have, and I'm updating it because of changes that I had to make. They can they can send a WhatsApp message on 065-820-7475. And then on the other ones, like your Facebook, they can look for Zukiswa Mvoko, which I will then update to what I need it to be, so that it's easy for people to connect to. That is on my Facebook. And also I'll share with you my my YouTube account is Dr. Mvoko, the spiritualist. That is my YouTube account, which if they find that there's nothing yet, I'm working on it. But that's where they can find me for now.
All right, to listeners and viewers, thanks for watching us at this time at Africa RadioTv present Talk Spirit. Dr.
And
Mvoko.
my brother, sorry.
All right, thanks a lot for our viewers and listeners. We've lost Dr. Mvoko, and thanks a lot for everything and your comment. Ifia, we thank you. Sam, we thank you. Avi, we thank you for your comment, and we love you so much. Anything that you wanted to say, I think the Gogo has explained a lot, and his contact. We just lost the Gogo now online, and thanks for your viewing and your comment. And come back again. If you can hear this message, please share our message to people so that they can know what is going on at Africa Radio TV. Thank you.